Okay, and we're back. We're ready to go. Let's do some philosophy. Welcome back to the channel. We are in the Oxsetting Pictures because Socrates has given us a side quest to thumbs up to do. He wants us to nail down the stages of enlightenment. Now, nailing down the stages of enlightenment, let me just turn myself up a little bit. I'm using a new compressor that I've got, that I've been playing with my music, but I'm using it here, and the audio hopefully will sound a little bit more even and better and awesomer. Oh my god, just listening to my voice will make you enlightened and good for you. So, in the book, Socrates, let's just look at the book, shall we? That's the blackboard. That's the Oxsetting Pictures. Let's bring up the text to remind us what we've been instructed to do by the big dog. Sock Daddy. That's what I call him. Okay, I have to change this. There we go. Just that easy. So, we have been asked to go on a side quest to write the sequel to the book that we're reading. So everything we've been learning through this book about how to create puzzles using the dialectic structure, how to organize our own thinking using the dialectic structure, how to use analogy within the dialectic structure to plant questions and give the terms of analogies that people can use to solve those puzzles, and how we can use the dialectic structure to organize the conversation between the characters, and how we can use the dialectic structure to organize the book itself. So, holy shit, everything we've been learning about what it means to read seems to be the dialectic, baby. Ooh. So, and of course, that's what we have discovered ourselves in pulling the pieces of the text together, that discovery is precisely what reading will lead to. That's why it's important to have, as my friend used to say, my friend in California would say, part of being in the game is having your nose in a text. And if you're not, well, you can't really be doing anything else. How can you be moving towards the truth of self and reality and if you're not reading a book that gives you the logos or the method or the path to do it? And even if you're only interested in solving your problems, why does it say I'm offline? Let me just refresh this. So even if you're interested in solving your problems, you have to be. Yep, I'm streaming. Going towards your most meaningful goals to surface those problems. And of course, as we have been learning, the most significant, beneficial, meaningful, important way of surfacing the blocks that you are carrying in life, the cause of your suffering, your repeated cycles of failure, stuck to fate, your NPC script that you've been living out, whether you know it or not, or whether you like it or not. The best way of addressing that is through dream analysis. Your dream maker knows all about yourself, your problems, your reincarnations, etc. It is a master dialectician. And so even if don't have your nose in a book, you might find that your dream will point you to doing it. That's what it seems to do in my years of experience with dream analysis, it points you to do that. So having your nose in a book, let's bring up our let's bring up the work that we've been doing. We have recognized that there are 5 basic causes that you can apply to anything. Of course, not just the physical world. We want to apply it to what's most significant to us, our soul. So in the first 5 causes that we move through as developing souls or human beings awakening to our purpose. Let me change that light. All right, let's stick with this one. You have to be willing to improve your soul. If you think you've already got it all figured out, and then, well, you're stuck. If you haven't yet recognized that different people are at different kinds of development, different states of mind, different ways of being, or in one word, different levels of soul. Well, hopefully you've recognized that, because to be in this game is to recognize that there are certain states of mind you're in, or certain ways of ordering your soul that are beneficial, and some that cause problems. Not all people are exactly the same. Some people stink, some people suck. To them we say,
calm your fucking tits.
Calm your tits.
Chimps. A chimp kissed a fox once, I think. I do enjoy that.
And some people are like chimps who kiss foxes. And some people enjoy that. So to begin this game, you have to be willing to learn about the soul and improve your own soul. That is the first cause, the receptive material cause, your soul. A soul seeking and following the Logos. So if you're not interested in understanding the truth about self and reality and aligning your own self according to that, not just reading, but using your reading to improve your own functioning, your own quality of life, solve your own problems, reach the truth of reality for yourself, not just hear that there's a great party that the gods attend, beauty itself, but actually want to go there yourself. And not just hear that, hey, that's just the doorway or vestibule, to use a fancy word, or gateway to the higher state of enlightenment, the self. Not just hear about that, but actually want to know what you are, want to know yourself and be your know and show yourself, or be your authentic self. If you're that sort of person, you like to learn, you want to be happy, you want to remove the things that make you sad or inflict injustice on others, then you are a soul seeking to improve yourself. Another way of saying that is you're a soul seeking and following the Logos, seeking that underlying structure of self, reality, the physical cosmos, and using the understanding of the arrangement of those things to arrange your own soul. That's seeking the Logos. Using it to, well, arrange that ideal ordering, harmonizing, structuring of reality, applying that to your own self. If there is a communication from higher intelligence or higher self to you, listening to the messages that you're being sent with an open, curious mind, not just believing it, but wanting to understand it for yourself and test it out in your experience to verify it, then you are not just seeking the Logos, you are following the Logos. That's the start of the game. Now, if you are seeking and wanting to follow the Logos, you have to read about it. That's what we've been doing. That's the text. We've been reading Logos-based texts, specifically Socrates and Jesus, A Dialogue in Heaven. We've been spending at least half of the time on this channel reflecting on it. So there's our activity of reading and our functioning of reflecting, talking, acting on what we're reading. Can be difficult because, well, there aren't a lot of people following and reading this book together, but that's okay. We reflect together here on this stream. Takes courage and what other words could you use? Other elements of virtue. Focus, discipline, to spend your life talking and reflecting on the logos and not gossip or personal beliefs and opinions. Now, what we've said is there's our receptive material cause, our activity cause, the functioning cause. All of that leads to recognizing that there is a model or blueprint or paradigmatic, the fourth cause, behind the texts. What's the structure of the logos that we are seeking and following? The dialectic. So, what we just said about recognizing that in the text that we're reading, the way it's structured, the way the conversations are happening, the way clues are being presented, the way questions are hidden, given to the reader. All of that's the dialectic. In other words, it's the blueprints of the logos at every level. Isn't that interesting? Now, why are we talking about that? Because Socrates says, hey, use everything you've been learning from this book, from this conversation that you've been in, and do a sequel. Ooh. Oh my goodness, we have read so much. Here. Do a sequel to this book. Call it The Dialogue Between Socrates and the Buddha. Now, the material that you would need to base that book on, we are looking for in the ox herding pictures. So this is the side quest. Socrates says, hey, you know what I would like? I would like all the stages of enlightenment, from a glimpse to its final stages, fully worked out. And that would be a sequel. Because we're doing the first step with Jesus, overcoming the lower cognitive function, the cognitive function that's the cause of our suffering, the cause of conflict, the cause of injustice in the world, the cause of our personal problems, the cause of our global problems, the cause of man's inhumanity towards man. One word, belief. The cognitive function of belief. To be stupidly, ignorantly loyal to early teachers who you are imitating because of their appearance and because of your dependence upon them when you were too young to know better. That's belief. Believing someone else. Doesn't develop. Beliefs don't change. It's just a belief. You have to stay in that belief to be a member of that tribe. Called the pathologos. And human global problems or cultural problems is that pathologos, family, clan, false belief about self and reality that comes with a way of being within the family, a role within the family, an image of yourself that you spend your life identifying with, that limits, you can't learn. If you learn, then you're not in the belief anymore. You're not a loyal follower anymore. You've changed. You've learned something new. You've grown. So belief is in opposition to development of learning. It's in opposition to your own self-goals because you believe someone else and what they tell you. You're stuck because all you can do is cross your fingers and hope whoever you're a slave to changes their mind and learns if you're believing that person. In other words, if you have to be ruling yourself, for you to be free to reach your highest goals, because you are the one who has to learn. So though that pathologos belief writ large, universalized, it's not my stupid belief, it's Jesus or God's stupid belief. It's not my belief, it's the president's or the law. So the universalization of our personal pathologos belief is the cause of the injustice that we see politically and religiously. Because these are two professions that are acting in opposition to understanding. Every other profession, you need understanding. You can't just believe your way into being a doctor or believe your way into being a pilot, but you can believe your ass into being a politician or a religious authority. It's all about belief. Equally so, the other thing that comes with understanding is the ability to benefit. Understanding a problem, you can solve it. Understanding your highest goals, you can help people develop. Purification and perfection, or benefit. Understanding is required necessarily. Therefore, these two professions that are based on beliefs not only act in opposition to learning, development, and understanding, they act in opposition to our own benefit. So we still live in a shit world where people are terribly mean and cruel and genocidal and murderous to each other. That hurts everyone, hurts the planet, makes the world a shitty place to live in. Oh, but shareholders are increasing their revenue. Yes, but shareholders also have to breathe the air, also have to live in the world, also have to pay the price for their injustice, either in this life or in their next. It's a lose-lose. Because belief can't create benefit, it acts in opposition to benefit. That's why it's cruelty is the point. Is the saying, oh, why do these religious or political authorities or capitalists want to kill people when they could help people? Cruelty is the point. For belief, the taking of, as you can't do benefit with belief, you can inflict harm. You can't build a sandcastle, but you can kick it over. The ability to kick over sandcastles they take as a surrogate for actual enlightenment or knowledge. And the inflicting of harm they take as a surrogate for what it means to be a knower or be powerful. Sadism. Fireworks. So that's the nature of human problems globally. One word, belief. That's it. So this dialogue, did we finish that thought? Right. Belief functions in opposition to understanding, in opposition to benefit as well. So that's why we're not living in a good world. Because those two professions that are still hanging on to belief don't help people. They harm people, always. Politicians like to murder people, like to impoverish people, just so their friends can make extra profit. Hooray! Disgusting. They want to pollute the planet because it saves on expenses for their businesses and corporations. Yes, poison the world. Start another war. Time of recording, the Pathologos Party, Republican or conservative or right wing, that's not a political party. No understanding, no desire for benefit. They've been harming their own population to an extreme degree. They've just invaded Venezuela. And they didn't even lie about how it was for freedom or some bullshit. They just said, yeah, it was for oil and no one can stop us. Yeah, this is what happens under capitalism, which is the personification of an ignorant false belief that can only do harm. So, if we want to do benefit, we need to move from belief into understanding. That's been the dialogue so far. Jesus and his culture, Judaic culture, what's the region? Judea? Personify belief. Of course he does. He's the big belief guy. Hey, just have faith. Everyone's personal idea of him is different. No one's in agreement. Many a person has been tortured and murdered in the name of Jesus because belief is always in conflict. We've looked at why that is using the logos, just to remind ourselves. Thinking requires certain terms. Everything that we think or perceive or experience is a whole and a part, is the same as something and different, is like and unlike. This flamingo is like this chicken in that they're stuffies. It's unlike it in that it's pink. Do this for anything. So what we've got is on the board here, we've got the building blocks of thought. But what makes the different cognitive functions that we are moving through different is how they relate. Same terms, different relationships. The inverse of analogy. Analogy, of course, the relations stay the same. As a shepherd relates to his sheep, relations stay the same, terms change. So too the king relates to his people. So caringly, with understanding, in order to benefit the things that actual kings and clergy do not do currently at this part of history. That's why we need this book. That's why it's a banger. It looks at what we are doing, belief, and helps us to understand that from the book. Believers are on the lesser side. They're only a part, and they're in conflict with the greater. I am a part. We are the Jews. We are the Catholics. We are the Mormons. We fight the world. We want the world to be destroyed so Jesus comes back or some bullshit. We want to, we're America. We want to invade the world and take all the stuffs. Kill people along the way, innocent people. They're always different. They're at war with people who are the same. They're always in motion. They're never at peace. They are always bound by their ignorance. They're never free. So this is a way of understanding the cognitive function of belief as literally or definitionally as you can. Understanding, of course, is the opposite. Your state of this is all from the text, by the way. Your state of mind is that of the whole, and you're able to function in a way that not harms like belief, not sadistically like belief, but beneficially towards the parts. Seeing the whole of something, you can apply this to anything. If you understand skateboarding, you understand it as a whole, and you can use your understanding of the whole to relate beneficially to a new skateboarder. Hey, you're struggling with your kickflip. This is how you can do a kickflip. So it's on this side, ideally, the ideal state of understanding has that ideal state of mind of the whole. Now, what we have been seeing is there's two kinds of whole. There is the mind knowing the whole of all parts. So both of these terms together. This is the light, brilliant light of being, stage of enlightenment. And there's a different kind of whole. That is a whole that transcends parts. And we've been using this Venn diagram here. So for each of these terms, you have the greater. What's a good one? For each of these terms, here we go. Yeah, you have the greater, the whole, the greater, the same, the unlimited, the free, the out of time. And that's this circle. And you have the Venn diagram where it overlaps with the other circle. Whole and part, greater and lesser, same and different. It has to, because they're two different things, but they relate. So you can have a whole of all parts. You can also have parts that are not part of a whole, like parts of trash in your garbage can. But that also implies if they're two different things, there has to be a whole that is beyond parts. Otherwise, you would have parts overlapping. There would be overlapping circles. There has to be a part of whole that's not parts, not touched by parts. So, if we apply that to reality, there are two kinds of wholes that we are looking for, that are possible states of mind in understanding, or states of being, or states of self. So in this Venn diagram, we've got there's a good one. These are all the same Venn diagrams. Here we go. This part here, the lesser realm of physical appearances. You never experience wholes here. You infer wholes. Even when you look at this chicken, you only see the front parts. You infer that it's a whole. You don't see its butt, but trust me, it has a butt. So the physical world, the world of mind, is that overlap, the whole of all parts. That's a possible state of mind. But there's another kind of whole, the ultimate, or the self. So mind and self, the two things that we are blocked from. We have a false idea of self and reality in our beliefs. Our beliefs causing our pathologos functioning. That's ignorance. Knowing the whole of all parts. Mind knowing itself as the realm of mind, or the realm of being. That's the knowing, experiencing it at once, recognizing its parts that you can use to benefit, is understanding. Wisdom is the two of those together, knowing and understanding. Now, you might want to use the word nous and dianoia, because the way that we use the words knowing and understanding usually refer to the physical world in our everyday way of speaking in English. So we put a capital K and a capital U, but we might as well just use the Greek words nous and dianoia. But our puzzle has been, well, hang on a second, what's the knowing all at once of the ultimate level of self, and what's its activity? There's our model and activity of every level. Or technically, ousia, knowing it as a whole, and logos, the understandable parts. So two levels of whole that we can have and function beneficially, intelligently and caringly, good head, good heart, towards parts, towards people who are different from themselves, towards people who are struggling with an idea of self that is unlike the self, people who are stuck in motion and can't reach their goals, people who are limited by beliefs, people who are only ever in time and never experience mind or self which exists out of time, people in problems, people in development. That development can be what we have been reading so far, the movement from the physical world and its negative model, belief, causing its negative functioning, pathologos, or rejection of mind and self. That's ignorance. That's the book. Because Jesus personifies this. People stuck in the physical world. What do all religions say? My idea of God is that my tribe should be in charge. The Jews should be in charge. The Christians should be in charge. The Muslims should be in charge. And that's what God wants. Me to be in charge and me have all the things. What does Donald Trump say as he invades Venezuela in the last couple of days? The law says that I should have everything and I get to be in charge. Section 1A of some bullshit I made up says that we can take whatever we want and kill whoever we want. Terrible. Ignorance. Savagery. The stage of human development you could call the zombie virus. Belief. So we have been seeing the significance of beliefs, and even for Jesus, someone who, even though he hasn't been able to address his false beliefs, did have an experience of mind, divine luminosity, but because he is still stuck in belief, he hasn't been using the dialectic to remove it. That's called philosophical midwifery. And he didn't use understanding to make sense of his enlightenment experience. That's called philosophy proper. He played out his tragic life story. He didn't magic his way from the dead. That was added 200 years after the Gospel of Mark. It ends with Jesus being crucified for his problem caused by his beliefs that he wasn't able to reflect on. And the last lines are, "God, why have you abandoned me?" And then, of course, as we've been saying, our world is currently in that state of ignorance. So the church said, but actually belief is good, actually. Ignore all of the facts and evidence and reason and the story because magic happened and Jesus floated to heaven. Like that episode of Itchy and Scratchy, where Poochie magicked his way out of the scene. If you've seen it, then you know it's very funny. Homer makes a big speech about something he's learned through understanding, and the powers that be didn't like that. So they cut it all out, and they drew in a speech bubble. Oh, I think they just did a voiceover. "My home planet needs me," and then they used the same frame of the animation, and they had him flying into space. He magicked his way into space, just like Jesus. So now that we have, because of what we were reading, been able to see this, the nature of human problems is a savage, blind, ignorant loyalty to belief and our first teachers of that belief, in opposition to our own benefit and the benefit of our species. And we've seen the tragic implications of if we do not wake up to our purpose. Our purpose is to learn how to understand, that's the dialectic, and apply that understanding to our false beliefs about self and reality. That's how we solve our ignorance and problems, individually and collectively. After we've seen that, the next stage is, hang on a second, now that we're free from our problems, what is the nature of mind and self and reality and self? In other words, that's kind of a squished Venn diagram. Let's use this one. In other words, now that we have moved from our physical appearances, all that ignorance, there's just a physical world, just try and scam your way through capitalism, get the most stuff, get the most Bugattis, that kind of stupidity. Now that we're free of that belief, what then are the stages of development through what we are now free to actually explore, the nature of actual mind, consciousness, reality? What are the stages of that enlightenment? And hang on a second, aren't there two kinds of enlightenment states? The brilliant light of being, experienced as bliss, and the clarity of the self, the pure state of knowing or pure state of self. That's a big puzzle. How can it be how can you know the self if knowing is here? And how can you understand the self if everything else we've understood has been this circle? Let's use a different color. This is the nature of the puzzle. Everything we've experienced has either been in the physical world or the non-physical world if you've had out-of-body experiences or mind experiences. In other words, everything has been parts. Either parts only in our physical world and our problems, or whole of parts in our enlightenment states. What would it be like to know something which transcends parts? And what would it be like to understand the parts of something which transcends parts, but somehow contains everything needed for the creation of all parts as its shadow? So that's the nature of the puzzle. And so now that we have seen the significance or the nature of human problems and the significance of solving them through what Socrates has been demonstrating with super belief man Jesus talking to super understanding man Socrates, Socrates has been engaged in a dialectic through the book to help Jesus go from belief to understanding or mind. Now, Socrates has asked him a couple of times about this state, but that's gone over Jesus' head, so he's not quite at that level. Meaning, book 2, the sequel. The sequel would be someone who's not a level of belief or physical experiences like Jesus, but someone like Buddha who recognizes that there is a 1 or 2, depending on what level Buddha is at, stages of enlightenment beyond the physical world, and he wants to get there. So, now that we're out of the realm of belief, what are these stages of spiritual development through mind and through self, so we can nail them down for ourselves, so we can move through them for ourselves, so we can have the map to, if you want to travel to California, you better have a map. But also, not just for ourselves, but as we're moving through them with the blueprints or the map, we can function through understanding as the highest kind of activity to benefit others as they go through that journey. The journey of all living beings who have developed the capacity to know the model, or ousia, self-reflection, and the capacity for the activity, logos, or language. So any species that are evolving eventually to the capacity of ousia and logos, self-reflection and language. And when you're at that level, you can make use of it well, which is what we're learning how to do now, and also recognize how it's used badly, belief. Hey, you ever notice that all of those politicians on the news justifying their ignorance and harm don't know how to put a sentence together, don't know how to answer a question, just use words to abuse and lie, all the time lying? Yes, that's how you misuse language and ousia. Once we recognize that, we want to do the sequel. Okay, right, we've seen that. That's the cause of ignorance. And as we've read in the book, Jesus has said, Socrates has says, Socrates says, look, I have come prepared to accept whatever happens to me as I go on my way, exploring these ideas and seeking among my fellow men their way to justice and truth. In other words, and then he says, what I won't say is I have come to save mankind through my own efforts and bring them to salvation. While it's fantastic that we can understand the nature of human ignorance and suffering, we can't save the world because people have to learn for themselves. But those who are genuinely interested in benefiting themselves in the world, we can explore with them these ideas and benefit them. Ideally, with that state of mind, with that state of functioning called understanding, which has either this state of mind of the whole or this state of mind of the whole, two different levels, the penultimate and ultimate states of enlightenment, of the whole that can benefit people moving through the parts, removing their limits, etc., etc. In the text, they also said a different way. We wouldn't say, this is what Jesus, how he would say it. I wouldn't say I've come prepared to suffer for the sins of man so that they can receive heavenly salvation because of magic and some bullshit about human sacrifice and blood sacrifice, death cult shit. What I would say, says Jesus, is I am prepared to go through whatever is necessary for the sake of those who are themselves striving for their own salvation. Now, we can understand salvation better than that. Removing of your problems caused by beliefs, unsuspected false beliefs you're carrying about yourself and the world, and moving through those stages of enlightenment. For those who are striving. So again, we can master the dialectic, the functioning of understanding, and help people, but can't save the world because it's something that every individual has to choose for themselves. Can't force people to learn. So, but we can learn, we can remove our ignorance, we can free ourselves from our fate, we can do what we're here to do, and we can learn how to play this game most artfully with those who are themselves interested and open. People who want to listen, people who want to play, people who want to learn. So now that we have seen that, we can solve our problems, not other people's problems, our own, and of course help others that are in the game who want to learn, solve theirs. But what next? That's the sequel. In other words, if Jesus is down here, Buddha is up here. Can we engage in a dialogue with Buddha, someone who is open to enlightenment, and use our understanding of the Logos and whatever experiences we've had to guide that Buddha person, or Buddha representing someone interested in actual enlightenment, help them through the stages of this mind enlightenment and this self. That's the sequel. And of course, we have seen that to do that, we need to be operating on these three levels. A soul seeking and following the Logos throughout this reading, having your nose in the text, as we're doing. To learn the dialectic. As mind, the best activity of mind and the best functioning of mind is the dialectician. Like Socrates, and there's two aspects to it. Purifying what's false, midwifery, and perfecting what's true. Removing beliefs and developing understanding to create the conditions for experience of mind or self. Oh, and reflecting on the dialectic as a whole to see that this is what benefits us, therefore to recognize for yourself by reflecting on the benefit that you're gaining from this greatest activity of mind, or the best thing you can do as a human being, to realize it is the best because, well, it's the learning and nurture that you can do here that you can take with you out of this life. So it's has to be the meaning of life, but also it's most beneficial. It's excellence and removing problems. So by participating in the structure of reality, the structure of the Logos, you are benefited. You're participating, you are seeing that there is a caring universe and there is an intelligence that is caring and beneficial extended to you, so you can participate in providence. So, as the soul reads to discover and learn about the Logos, so too the mind can participate in it as the dialectician, or in the activity of the dialectic, but ultimately it's to know the self. So you need some sort of guide to guide your dialectic, to guide your reading. Most ideally, that's your dream maker. So too, as the soul participates in reading, so too the mind participates in the dialectic. So too the self participates in dream analysis. The highest activity that uses the dialectic and the ultimate functioning as a human, the dialectician of dreams, which Socrates has been pointing to all through this text, leading to the paradigm of providence, some sort of model or paradigm of self that is beyond even mind, the knowing of the self. That for the sake of which the text has said, hey, by the way, once you've gone through this, there is an end. The purpose of your life or the human species or your incarnation as a human can be, if you finish your job, to unify with a higher state of being beyond human beings that functions as an ideal dialectician of dreams. What would that be? That's the question. And why is it like, and how does that relate to the dream maker? Or what's the ideal state of self? And the question here is, what's the ideal self at the end of this journey? And how does it relate to the dream maker, who seems to itself be the ideal dialectician? Or the ultimate dialectician? With a mind-bogglingly infinite intelligence such that it creates billions of dreams every single night. Every single one of them is a message to help the development of self. So, the dream maker. Big questions there. Therefore, there is a direction that we are moving through from beliefs and ignorance. That's the conversation we've been having with Jesus. And now we can create another dialogue with Buddha to move through those stages of mind and self to our end. What's the end? How do we completely know and show the self in a way where we don't lose it? We don't forget. So that's the quest we're on currently. So as Socrates says, I would like all of those stages that we've just explained, worth explaining, worth putting words on, worth reminding ourselves where we are. What are all those stages of enlightenment? From a glimpse that there is something beyond the physical. And by the way, that glimpse can be understanding or knowing. It can be through the love of understanding. You can recognize that there is a paradigm for the laws of reality. Hey, while people with belief are always in conflict and they can't connect or do anything good, savages, people who understand can relate to each other. If you understand something, you can talk to somebody else who also understands it. You can have a good time. You can both learn together. You're not debating or fighting, but you can explore your questions together and learn. So what's that universal paradigm that you are both sharing in and benefiting from, sharing in equally? In other words, it can't be in you if I also have it, and we can engage in a dialectic on whatever topic we have an understanding of, considering we recognize that there is an intelligible structure, it's learnable. There are lots of ways that you can wake up to the fact that there must be a paradigm that exists non-physically as the cause of the physical patterns. Could be the physical patterns. Hey, what's the cause of our physical laws that's maintaining them in each moment? Time. What's creating each frame that we're experiencing through time? Solving problems. Hang on a second. Are the fascists doing fascism and Nazi shit because the left don't have a principle of justice that's always universally true, so that these ignorant sociopaths claim to be speaking for the left, claim to want to benefit people, but actually let the fascists do fascism while they get their bag. In other words, they compromise with the ignorance. Have you ever seen a doctor compromise with a sadist? Well, my job is to help my patient. Well, actually, I'm a sadist. I like to see people suffer, says the right wing, says the religious or conservative, says belief. Can't we compromise? Let me do a little bit of hurting people and watching them suffer. Cruelty is the point. And you do a little bit of helping. The left wing. Hey, so people who are interested in solving political problems might realize, holy fuck, that's disgusting. In fact, we could call that the activity of strict dualism. There is no universal principles. Have a left and right team and just compromise because everything is belief, bro. That's bullshit. We need a paradigm of justice that, hey, doesn't matter who you fucking assassinate, it won't change the fact that we always have to tell the truth. There's a law. You can't profit from the suffering of others. There's another law. You can't profit of inelastic goods or universal needs. There's another law. You can't hoard technology. You can't benefit financially from anything that hoards resources or technology or does not improve the human race. Never capitalism, because that serves capital and not people. Basic. And hey, but there's always a counterattack. So the people who are blindly loyal to their version, no, I don't like helping everyone. I'm a religious person. Or I don't like removing the profit incentive to life because I'm a capitalist. Who can we assassinate who are saying those ideas I don't like? Nobody. Because it's a universal principle that everyone can acknowledge and understand. You can't assassinate your way out of that. That could be your use of understanding to realize that necessarily there must be a paradigm of these universal principles that will always apply. Doesn't matter how ignorant everyone else in the room is, or how many people are assassinated or murdered by that crusade or that political party or that religious group. Doesn't mean anything. 2 and 2 will always equal 4. So there are many ways that you can wake up to mind and self that are non-physical, eternal, the very things we are literally here to learn as the meaning of life, through understanding. Through understanding the activity of mind or self. Or the model, remember, model and activity, the whole and the parts, the knowing and the understanding. The ousia and the logos, those are the 2 things we use. So either so we talked about understanding of the paradigm of mind, or understanding that there must be a self can wake you up. There can be a glimpse of that, or an experience, an out-of-body experience, a drug experience, a dream experience, in sport or singing or dancing sometimes, meditation, all sorts of ways, childbirth, that you can have a direct experience of mind, the whole of all parts, or self, the whole that transcends parts. So whether it's through understanding or experience, and whether it be understanding or experience of mind, eternity, or self, the cause even of mind, we want to map the journey of someone who has had that glimpse through to its perfection. Now, we're using the word perfection because we have been given that as a clue. The haters who have been hating on everything we've been doing, the believers, the people who are stuck, the savages, the zombie people, the NPC people, No understanding, no direct experience, just believe what we say because we're afraid of our own mind. That's all they say. That's all they can say. Because the ousia and logos they have access to is limited by belief. It is limited. See, it's always this side for belief. Always the lesser. That's why there's no jokes. That's why you can't have right-wing comedy. There is nothing. You look at right-wing comedians, the Joe Rogan sphere, all they have is, we are going to act harmfully against the whole and smile about it. Sadism. That's their idea of knowing. Sadism. To be cruel and enjoy it. Ever seen those Joe Rogan sphere comedians, the right-wing comedians? All they ever do is be cruel, punching down. Here's a minority, ha 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 ha. They're suffering, ha 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 ha. Oh, I'm saying the naughty word. And it's naughty because it's ignorant and cruel. Smug and cruel. That's it. That's all it ever is. That's comedy. That's knowing for believers, religious people, political people, right-wing political people, I mean. Smug and cruel. So that's been the haters. And they've got a limited amount of model and activity, ousia and logos. Where do we have it together? Here we go. The model, ousia, the activity, logos. That's what we use. That's what we can use as evolved beings. Or evolved to this level. So they've been hating all the way through. They've been big. What's that noise? Oh. Okay. That was just one of like the two streamers that I watch sometimes. One streamer I watch all the time, and another streamer I watch sometimes for videos. It's just being Discord telling me that they're about to start streaming. Okay, that's stupid. Ignore that. I didn't say anything.
But I thought this was actually kind of interesting.
Yes, what we are doing is interesting. So, limited ousia, limited logos, all they can reflect on is their own state of smugness and ignorance, and all they can use as logos is to repeat catchphrases of their beliefs. That's the sales pitch. Hey, what does MAGA sell to MAGA people? Hey, we're going to take all your money and take all your material conditions away, and we're going to hurt you and watch you suffer, and we're going to take away your healthcare and your education and make life not affordable. But what we'll sell you, if you accept all of those sacrifices, you can pretend to be knowing. We'll give you a few catchphrases that you can use. Shallow logos. A few catchphrases. Trans people suck. Own the libs. Woke. I win the argument because you're woke. That's it. Fucking stupid. Zombie-like. NPC-like. You can only use a few words. That's why all of the right-wing comedy is just the same joke. A man in a dress. Ho, 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 ho. That's woke. Ho, 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 ho. Same thing for religion. Jesus saves. I'm smarter than you because Jesus. You're going to hell, ha 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 ha, because you don't believe what I say. That's what they sell you. the ability, well, the few catchphrases and the acceptance within a small group of, you can pretend to be a Noah and we'll all nod. We all know you're fucking stupid, but we'll pretend you're a Noah as you cosplay a Noah, so long as we take all your shit. We take your life, you're a slave to us, whether it's a religious slave, being told to kill whoever we tell you to kill. That's the Abrahamic religions. Abraham was instructed to kill what he loves, sacrifice what he loves, and murder. So too, Muslims, Christians, and Jews. That's the underlying analogy behind those religions. And what do they sell them? A few catchphrases and a circle of people that will lie as you cosplay a Noah. That's all. In other words, they're selling fake enlightenment. You don't have to lie about knowing if you actually know. You don't have to lie about the words that you use. You don't have to just use a few catchphrases if you understand the thing. If you know the thing and you understand it, you can have fun talking about it in millions of different ways. That's analogy. That's actual comedy. To use clever analogies to point to something you see that's insightful and beneficial and true. That's comedy. That's why there can't be right-wing comedy. There isn't ever any. It's just smug cruelty always. Sometimes they mark us, oh no, it's not smug cruelty, it's we're roasting you. When we call you these terrible words and laugh about it. Notice no one laughs at these, they just clap. Yes, I agree. I also pretend to be a Noah when I'm smug and cruel. And I also use that same naughty word to do it. Ha 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 ha. Not really laughing, they're clapping. Anyway. Stupid, isn't it? That's how stupid we are. Because we are stuck in belief. That's all belief does. Shallow ousia. Enough to reflect on this bullshit lie you've been sold by fascists who are oppressing you. Belief, you can't manipulate people through understanding and knowing. If you use understanding and people understand why X, Y, and Z is beneficial, then it is. If you can convince someone through a belief that X, Y, and Z is beneficial when it isn't, that's belief. That's why it's all grift on the right and in religion. So, very, very simple. Shallow ousia, shallow use of logos, belief. And opposition to our benefit, that's ignorance. The logos to shut down the logos, pathologos, and the model of belief to shut down the true knowing. So that's been the haters all the way through. Typical stuff, always the same, very easy to see once you see it. But the change is now that they are even though they couldn't participate themselves, they've watched people participate in dialogue and benefit by dialogue, Soc and Jesus. So even though it's towards the end of the text, finally they are curious about the logos, number one, and curious about the idea of perfection. You need both. If you think that you're stagnant and there's no change, then all you can do is hurt yourself and others. What you do with your life energy and belief. Cruelty is the point. But if you think you can improve, that's the idea of perfection. You can improve towards an ideal perfection or excellence or ideal goal. Now, they instantly got the counterattack, because there's always a counterattack. Don't smile. Actually, perfection is weak. There is no perfection, only in heaven maybe. And also there is no logos, it's only mysteries and they can't be solved. No, logos demonstrates all problems are solvable, necessarily. Demonstratably. As we've just solved human problems. Now, we're not trying to save humanity, but we can understand this for ourselves and share it with those who are genuinely interested in participating in reading, in dialectic, midwifery of problems, and dream analysis. And we can have balloons. as Socrates quoted, I'm not here to save humanity, but we can explore ideas with and our path towards that excellence, perfection, or justice with those who are open to the logos and open to the idea of development or perfection. So perfection and logos, keywords, and that's the change in the haters. Right before we are told to work out the stages of development of enlightenment from a glimpse to its final stages. So in other words, our perfection through the logos. And of course, a smile triggered him. So we're wondering, how does the smile play in? What makes the people smile? What made the actual philosophers, the anti-chorus, smile when they said, I'm curious about the logos and how it relates to perfection? That's why we don't need catchphrases. Once you see it, then you can have fun. You can smile as you use what you see. So, in the most profound of principles, there is the logos. And if you can't see that, then you can't hear or accept anything other than what you believe in. Because even in religion, there's the idea that as we read earlier in the first 3 sentences of John, the logos was with God or self, and it's divine. Okay, that's not really important for us now. So our quest is a glimpse, either an understanding or knowing, either of self or mind, that awakens you to the task of perfection. You had a glimpse of a non-physical state of being, or you've had a glimpse of the pure clarity of knowing of the self that transcends even experience of eternity. Neat. What do you want to do about it? I'll save you some time. If you ask your regular friends, they will say, ha 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 ha. That's stupid, you're stupid. You're crazy. Ha 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 ha. Because there is always a counterattack. And unless they have experienced that same thing too, and they've addressed their counterattack, they will be blocked from that experience. That's why in midwifery, that's the principle. You can only midwife others through stages of development that you have yourself reached. There are a few small exceptions, but generally speaking, that's the principle. Now, the exceptions would be, one of them is that person's pathologos block is similar enough to your own that you've seen enough about it to help that person through it. Or you've mastered the principles of the dialectic such that you know that you don't need to do anything if you're following the logos as it unfolds. And I think there are a couple of other exceptions, but generally speaking, you can only help someone to the point that you're at. So I'll save you some time. You've had a glimpse. Unless your friends have also had that glimpse and they have been doing philosophical midwifery, which is one of the 2 aspects of the dialectic, to remove their counterattacks, and they've been using the other aspect of the dialectic to understand that glimpse. So unless they've understood their own glimpse and understood their counterattack, they will still be blocked. So I'll save you some time. Those friends are going to shut you down. I'll save you some heartache. Your family definitely will shut you down. There's a reason why you haven't had that experience up until now. And the more your family cares about you, the more they will want to stop you from that experience, because they've been brainwashed by their parents and their parents from their parents all the way back to the cave, that any sort of experience of understanding mind or self is dangerous and scary, because that would mean we'd have to change our way of being, and fucked if we're gonna do that. Because we're the chosen people. We'll even create religions around it to prove that we are the chosen people. We don't have to learn shit. We're a Jew. We're a Anglican. We're a Muslim. We're a Mormon. We're a MAGA. We're a Nazi. We're a white person. We're a white supremacist. Whatever the fuck. to prove that we don't have to change anything, the cause of human ignorance. So I'll save you some time with going to your friends to make sense of it, and I'll save you some heartache sharing with your family members, because they're going to be the most opposed to it. What then do we do if we've had a glimpse? That's what we're figuring out. Can we understand the stages from a glimpse to its perfection through the logos, through our understanding and reflection? From a glimpse to the final stages. To do that, we're looking at the oxiding pictures. We are recognizing we're looking for different specific things. Each picture, there is a statement. And within that statement, and there's also a poem, that statement and poem we're looking for states of mind. What's the state of mind of that experience or glimpse? What do you see there? What's encountered? What is it a glimpse of? Like, so there's your epistemology and ontology, the two things. What is and how do you know it? How do you know it is a state of mind? What is epistemology? How do you know it? Ontology. So that's another way of saying what's your ontology, state of mind, that allows you to experience that thing. And what's the thing you experience? How does that thing function? And what's the next stage? Or how does that suggest its own sequel? In other words, if you can fully understand that state of mind, understand what you're experiencing, understanding how the two come together to function towards some goal, that goal has to prepare you for the next stage. So those are the four things we're after. State of mind, what's encountered, how it functions, and how does it suggest its purpose, or that for the sake of which we've gone through this. 4 steps. Now, of course, we've been seeing, we're also looking for the dialectic. Can those 4 stages be categorized within the 4 categories of the dialectic too? That's a question we're carrying. So that's the that's where we are in the text. That's our side quest that we've been instructed to do. That's how and why it's a sequel. We've got over the first stage of belief, talking to Jesus. Now we're in the real game. Of course, we recognize there are 2 kinds of enlightenment experiences, which would imply there are stages of both. We've seen from our reading, we're looking for the dialectic, which is the structure of the logos. It's the method, it's the path. So we're looking for the logos or dialectic in all of it. And we're building a map that we can follow, and as we follow it and verify it in our own experience, we can use that map to benefit not only ourselves, but those who are also awake to the game, to our human purpose. So it's a win-win-win-win-win.
It's a win-win. Win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win.
Always be winning.
I'm cute. Like, it's cutie pie.
And it will turn you into a cutie pie.
Dead-eyed, and I don't use these absolute dullards, borderline chimps, who want to kiss a fox.
No, that's not fair.
Dude, suck my dick.
Come on, dude.
Dumbass.
Dumbass, don't say that, R.M. Brown. Say a nice thing.
Try to kiss a fox.
Okay, you can try and kiss a fox. We can all try and kiss a fox. Whatever that means. Okay, nonsense. Stop with the nonsense.
No, you're not the one that's mentally unwell. You are crossing into new bounds.
I'm not the crazy one. Good. I thought so. All right, so that's where we are. And now let's jump into those ox herding pictures. I liked that review. Reminded me where we're at. And there are so many terrible things happening in the physical world at this stage of development that it's nice to remind ourselves that all problems are solvable, and we have guidance from this text and our dream maker, so long as we're following the text to solve those problems. And even if the rest of the world isn't on board, we can do it ourselves. While learning the art for those who are actually open and curious to developing themselves. So, that's where we're at. Okay, we're back. So, how far through the ox herding pictures are we already? What's that ox doing? First stage, search for the bull. Why search? We've lost sight that there isn't even an ox. We're in a maze of crisscrossing roads, speaking about the state of the world currently. Greed for worldly gain, invading countries for their oil, dread of loss, instituting regimes changes and distractions from certain Epstein files because of what we'll lose while seeking all of our gain. And all of the ideas of right and wrong are just clip chimping, are just used for justifications. Because you know what? Right and wrong, what's that? Opportunity to learn through the dialectic? No. Opportunities to stab people. What did Trump say of Venezuela? Oh, well, he did that wrong thing that one time. So now we can murder him and kidnap him and his wife and take all his land and kill his people and steal his oil because he did a wrong thing. Isn't that what life's about? Punishment? Catching someone doing something wrong so you can justify doing whatever the fuck, which usually to benefit yourself, either in taking their physical things or for the pleasure of sadism, which is your own fake idea of what's good or knowing within belief. Yeah, punishment is fucked. Punishment is fucked. Punishment is stupid. But that's stage one. The ideas of right and wrong are used as daggers for your greed for worldly gain and are motivated also by a fear of loss, meaning you're lonely, desolate, and fearful, seeking an ox which you can't find. You are always in motion, never at rest, treading many bypaths, tangents, distractions, fantasies, all of the manifestations of the pathologos. Bone tired and weary, he carries on his search for something he cannot find. In the evening, he hears cicadas chirping in the trees. What's that a personification of? He is alone and desolate because of his own ignorance or pathologos or defilements. He's lost sight of what we're here to find, whatever the ox represents. The logos, mind, self, don't know yet. Probably all three, but because of our own ignorance that we haven't addressed, our pathologos we haven't addressed through dialectic and dream analysis, we've lost sight of the logos, mind and self. True justice. As Socrates said, I'm here to follow ideas with fellow men on how to reach truth and justice. Stage one, ignorance, tangents. Hey, you're desolate, you're always alone. The life of a believer. Even within your group, you're different from all the other weirdos at your church. No one has the same belief about whatever you believe in. And hey, when you're not singing Kumbaya in church, you feel pretty alone. Always alone. But there is something else out there, the cicadas. That's the anticipation of something other. Stage two, you've discovered footprints. Along the riverbank under the trees, I discover footprints. Even under the fragrant grass, I see the prints. Deep in the remote mountains, they are found. The traces can no more be hidden. Then one's nose looking heavenward. Eventually, you start to see that there is a meaning. Everything's pointing in the same direction. Understanding always benefits. Belief always hurts. Whether it's this religion or this sexist belief or this racist belief or this MAGA belief or this capitalist beliefs, it's always fucking beliefs. Whether it's understanding medicine, understanding how to fly a plane, or understanding the soul, understanding is what benefits. Everywhere you look. Through sutras and teachings, or reading that we're doing here, you discover the tracks of the ox. Is that the logos? Are the tracks the logos of self or mind? What is the ox? Don't know yet. He has been informed that different shaped vessels are basically of the same thing. The golden vessels, are basically of the same goal. Is it all made up of what? Mind? Of self? Of everything is in self, of self returning to self through the logos, which is a learning about what's inherent of self. So each thing is a manifestation. Oh, there we go. So each thing is a manifestation of the self. There we go. There's the same gold. It's all self. In mastering and following the logos, we're learning about the self. But he is unable to distinguish good from evil, truth from falsehood. Uh-oh. You haven't yet noticed the difference between pathologos and logos. He has not yet actually entered the gate, but he sees in a tentative way the tracks of the ox. If there's a pattern of understanding that we can all benefit by, if there is such a thing called the dialectic, sounds nice. I mean, I'm kind of sick of debates. I'm sick of politicians lying. I'm sick of religious wars and genocide. I'm sick of capitalist greed and impoverishing of our people. What would be the logos? What would be true justice? That's always the same. Doesn't matter who's in charge. Just like medicine and flying a plane and 2 and 2 being 4. But you're not in the game yet. You're still a spectator. Everywhere is pointing to you to it. You are starting to see the logos unfolding to direct you to your purpose. The dialectic and logos. But are you brave enough to jump in? Not yet. You are in stage 2. You're only discovering the footprints. Innumerable footprints he has seen in the forest and along the water's edge. Over yonder, does he see the trampled grass? What's happening over there? Is this the haters in the text? Oh, what are they doing? Is Socrates helping Jesus through the logos? Is he perfecting Jesus? He had that enlightenment glimpse, the transfiguration experience, but did he need to understand it? Did he need to remove his beliefs too? Is he going through a perfection with Socrates? But it's over there. We are still hating. We're not in the game yet. We're not yet in the game. Or, how do you get in the game? Recognize that you can improve your soul through following those footprints, following the logos. A soul receptive to seeking and following the logos. That's how you get into reading and talking about it, looking for questions, allowing you to get into the dialectic, my friend. Maybe start paying attention to your guru, your dream master. Stage 2. Over yonder he sees the trampled glass, discovery of the footprints. Even the deepest gorges. No, over yonder, does he see the trampled grass? Does he see that there is a movement of mind? Or ox, or self? Even the deepest gorges of the topmost mountains can't hide this ox's nose, which reaches right up to heaven. There's the anticipation. Hey, the footprints anticipate there being an ox, and what does the ox do? He points up to heaven with his nose. So just as the loneliness of pathologos belief and conflict and physical material seeking only, clip chimping, looking for excuses to take shit. You're wrong. Every relationship that isn't following the logos. I caught you doing this wrong thing. Now I can do this thing I've wanted to do. The motive, that was always the point. Notice when Trump invaded Venezuela. It was always for oil. Everything else was just a justification for what he wanted. Notice whenever there's a school shooting, they always blame their opposition. Oh, it's the thinkers. It's the people who want to benefit everyone. It's the left who want everyone to have healthcare and a good way of life and to be able to afford rent and food. They are the ones. No, it's not. I don't care. This was the conclusion. That's fate. Your pathologos conclusion you're stuck in. Everything becomes an interpretation or projection to justify the goal. Your conclusion always comes first. That's disgusting. That's lonely. That's desolate. Right and wrong are just daggers. Stage 1. But there is something else out there. Cicadas. Singing a different song. Now, when you start to notice that there is a pattern, there is an understandability. Therefore, if there are patterns to reality, other than all personal beliefs and opinion, if you realize everything isn't just personal beliefs and opinion, that's garbage. There is actually truth, there is actually understanding. Then you have to ask, what is the cause of understanding? Not yet, not in number 2, you're just discovering that there is understandability. If there is understandability, there has to be a source. That's the ox, and that ox, his nose reaches right up to heaven. The source of understanding itself, the paradigm that we need for politics and true spirituality. If you want to call it the true left, then that's the paradigm. I talk about some of the better people like this lady.
That one's perfect and exactly the case.
Whoops. I said this lady who says...
They're secretly turned on by it.
Who's secretly turned on by this stuff. Emma and the Majority Report crew. They have been realizing slowly that, hang on a second, there needs to be a archetype of principles that are always true for the left to be able to solve problems and say, no, it's not because I don't like fascism, it's because these universal principles show that fascism is always fucking bad, you psychopaths. The logos. Stage 2. Realizing that there is a way to understand and address human problems. We need to find it. That's the ox. You won't be able to find the principle needed to solve human problems unless you have the word logos, the thing I was banned from the Twitch chat of the Majority Report for saying, yes, Emma and Brendan were right. By the way, you won't see it unless you have the name. The name is Logos, instaban. I have no fucking clue what these stupid moderators of Majority Report were thinking, because they didn't say anything to me at all. Stage 2. Well, the moderators are stage 1. Complete ignorance. Where the better people like Brendan and Emma from the Majority Report,
Do a poggers.
who does a poggers, are at is stage 2. Realizing that there is a pattern or steps or footprints of mind or ox, but not yet seeing that there must be an ox causing it. If there is understanding or principles that harmonize humanity, acting in opposition is the right wing, therefore they're not a political party, they're the pathologos party. But we solve problems by harmonizing ourselves to reason, evidence, the principles of reality, addressing causes, preconditions. Then you are noticing footprints, but you won't be able to solve the problems until you realize the footprints themselves has a cause. The rationality, the understandability of reality has a cause. That's the ox, the logos. If you have recognized that such a thing as cause and effect, then you may be at the end of stage 2. even the deepest gorges of the topmost mountains, even the irrationality of the most unjust psychopaths in the right-wing parties. Even their irrationality is understandable. There is a logos behind their injustice. There is a way to solve all human problems. Even the topmost mountains can't hide the ox. And the ox's nose reaches all the way to heaven. So not only does the logos solve all human problems, that's the purification element. It's also our perfection towards excellence. It points us up too. Does both. You need both. You don't just want to solve problems, you want to create the conditions for a healthy world. Now, we are using politics or the world as an analogy, as we've been saying. Who knows if enough people will wake up to the logos sufficiently to save human race from extinction, or to put an end to the terrible injustices that are completely unnecessary and create a better world. Who the fuck knows? We are doing it for ourselves. This is your own development. It's not for others. We are using that as an example to demonstrate it so we can see it within our souls. It's about ordering our own souls. Your own seeking of the logos. So, stage 1, searching for the bull. You can't search, you're all alone. Discovery of the footprints. Maybe there's something happening here. Maybe there's actually a purpose or meaning or rationality. Number 3, perceiving the bull. I hear the song of the nightingale. The sun is warm, the wind is mild. Willows are green along the shore. Here no ox can hide. What artist can draw that massive head, those majestic horns? The glimpse. There seems to be the glimpse. You've glimpsed, so that in the picture we see the guy seeing its butt. Terrible.
Calm your fucking tits.
Calm your tits. It's just a butt.
I find that very entertaining.
And you would. But notice, inspiring. What artist could draw it? Sure, how can we make sense of that? I talked about, hey, save yourself some time. Don't go to your old friend circles. Unless, of course, you've got some special friends. And save yourself some wretched heartache. Don't share it with the many, because you know what they're going to say if they haven't gone through this. And definitely don't think you're going to get any support from your family. They've spent their whole lives blocking you from this development. But hey, don't believe me. But I think it's worth saying, because it fucking sucks to go through that without anybody saying, hey, by the way, just so you know. If you understand the pathologos, you understand that you've been blocked from this development to your highest insights into yourself by the savage pathologos caveman way of being that you've developed and woken up to as a human being in this point of history. In other words, your family has been doing nothing other than trying to block you from this. And they think it's love. That's how ignorant it is. And by the way, as majestic and massive and amazing that this ox is that you've had a glimpse of, you would expect everyone else to be curious and in awe. Nope. They're in their pathologos too. They haven't woken up to the ox. Do you think they are going to have that same care and awe and reverence for this beautiful thing that you have? No fucking way. Have you met a human being? They're savages. Unless, of course, they've been going through the reading, dialectic, midwifery, and dream analysis. That's simply where we are. So, don't be surprised when they will do everything in their power to crush your development, because that's what they learned is good. cruelty is the point, remember, for the Pathologos? So, what artist, who could explain this? Who could talk about it? Who could nail it down? Surely, hey, that's where the words come in. Ineffable. Remember, whatever stage somebody says, it's ineffable, it's beyond words, that's the level they're blocked. Because words are our method. Understanding is our development. That's the ox. The first glimpse of the ox. Oh yeah, there we go. I guessed it was the glimpse, and here we are. The first glimpse of the ox. If he will but listen to intently to the everyday sounds, he will come to realization, and at that instant, see, that's another thing, it happens in an instant. We've talked about the gap between frames of time that we are experiencing like a movie. The gap. In the instant, he sees the very source. Again, matching our map of time. Let's remind ourselves of it. Here we go. See the movie frames? There's a state of emptiness or the instant in the gap between each frames, and there's emerging into the now and then a returning. So that instant was the source in the middle between frames. Ooh. See, having gone through episode 1, Jesus and Socrates, we've developed all of these maps, all of these ways of understanding from reading in the way we're learning how to read, that allows us to therefore understand or make sense of these oxiding pictures. That could be all Greek, all Chinese to us, all foreign to us, mysterious. What the heck does he mean? Well, we can use our map to understand it. In the instant he sees the source, this is our perceiving the bull. The six senses are no different from this true source. Oh, what? In every activity, the source is manifestly present. It is analogous to the salt in water or the binder in paint. When the inner vision is properly focused attention, single goal, following the logos, one comes to realize that which is identical, when the inner vision is properly focused, one comes to realize that which is seen is identical with the true source. So you had a glimpse of the source. The nightingale warbles on a twig. The sun shines on undiluted willows. No, I made that mistake last time. The sun shines on undulating willows. So there's a movement back and forth like the willows undulating. But it's the same sun shining on it, causing it. What's the cause of life? Sun. There stands the ox. Where could he hide? That splendid head, those stately horns. What artist could portray them? So there's our anticipation of the next stage. Had a glimpse. You've seen it's the source. Now it could be mind, or it could be self, or it could be logos. It seems to be that the footprints might be the logos. Although the logos is inherent in mind and self. So could be logos, could be mind, could be self. But it's also the source. Now, of course, that's two different kinds of sources. Both are sources. But if everything is consciousness, or everything is in mind and perceived through mind, then it's the same sun shining on the changes that happen, the undulating willows. Where could you not look? What could not be mind, or what could not be self? But it's one thing to have a glimpse, but another thing to nail it down with understanding. and gain mastery of it to be able to function through that mastery to benefit art. That's the Greek idea of art. What artist couldn't nail it down? So let's see. Number 4, nailing it down. Nailing down the glimpse, or catching the ball that you had a glimpse of. Nailing it down. I seize him with terrific struggle. His great will and power are inexhaustible. He charges to the high plateau, far above the cloud mists, or in the impenetrable ravine he stands. I can't nail it down. So elusive. Catching the ox. Today he can't see, there's the man struggling with the ox. So first picture, searching for the ox, doesn't see anything. Second picture, discovery of the footprints. He's by himself, but he sees the footprints. Number 3, perceiving the bull, sees its butt, but also his head and majestic horns. Oh, how could you nail it down? Now we're nailing it down. Trying it. There he is with a rope around its neck. Gonna capture him. Its great will and power are inexhaustible. Seems like he's completely out of your grasp. Catching the bull. Today he encountered the ox. Catching the ox, which has long been cavorting in the wild fields, but actually grasped it. For so long a time has it reveled in these surroundings that breaking it of its old habits is not easy. So maybe not logos, maybe the mind breaking it of its pathologos? Or the self breaking it of its old images of self? Could be either. It continues to yearn for sweet scented grasses. Could that be the retreating back to physical gain? Physical pleasures? The rewards of being a loyal tribe member of the family or cult or religion or society? It is still stubborn and unbridled. Oh yeah. Having a glimpse of truth isn't the same as removing what's false. That's why there's always 2 activities. If he could tame it completely, the man must use his whip. Sounds like the virtues. Virtues are a practice. That's why, to get into the game, you don't need anything else. You don't even need a glimpse. Well, your glimpse could be an understanding, as we've said. It doesn't have to be an experience. Could be either. But the very first material cause is a soul seeking to follow the logos. That's a seeking of arranging the forces of your soul. Are you desiring the logos? Are you seeking the logos? Are you going to be ruled by the logos? Are you going to follow the logos? And are you going to do it at all times? Those are the 4 virtues. Those are a practice. In other words, you don't need anything. Before this, it's something you do in each moment. Therefore, habit, training, discipline. Stay in the game. Don't give up. In fact, find the things that make you want to leave the game or want to give up or get distracted and write them down as clues for your midwifery. You have to break the ox of its old habits. Break the mind or self of its old habits. If he could tame it completely, he has to use his whip. He must tightly grasp the rope and not let it go. So there's your state of mind. Pull in 2 directions, pathologos and logos. For the ox still has its unhealthy tendencies. That's what you're encountering. The counter-attack. Dun dun dun. Nope. This one.
I've been a bad little girl. Like literally suck my dick, dude.
That's what we say to the pathologos. We say,
Kant's a little fucking bitch.
yep. Kant is, while he tugs it by the nose, it might well turn its head towards old haunts. The counterattack. Very, very common. Someone has a glimpse of excellence, a breakthrough, an insight, an understanding even. And there is a huge pull. Now, in the philosophical midwifery book, it's talked about as a like a black hole, like there's a gravitational field that's one way of understanding it. That pulls you into your old habits, like a rubber band. You've just stretched out. You've gone further than you've ever gone before. But unless you've freed yourself from the rubber band of the pathologos, what happens? Pew! Oh my god, my elbow. Oh, hurt my elbow playing guitar in a funny way. There's a counterattack. This you spring back even harder. Unless you are working on it, cultivating it, looking for those counterattacks, then it will turn towards the old haunts. This is true even of midwifery. So many people have got into midwifery only so far, only as long as it took for them to have one or two insights, and now straight back to the family way of being. Oh, now I can do that thing I've been blocked from this thing my whole life, but now through midwifery I've been able to see through it. Now I'm free to a small amount. I have a small amount of freedom, free enough from my problem to be able to do this small goal. Now I'm going to run back to my family. My old way of being. With a little bit more freedom to do that thing. Boo. So you could even do these stages for the pathologos. You can be blind from midwifery. Why solve my problems? Why reflect on problems? I don't have any problems. And if I do have problems, it's physical. I just need to take drugs or give myself a name that implies an illness. Because modern psychology is borrowing from the medical model. This is true psychology. Philosophical midwifery is the true way of solving problems. It's not physical. It's the cause of physical problems. Why would I do that? Why would I do midwifery? Number 2, maybe there is a way of solving problems, but I'm not going to do it yet. Number 3, I've done a few midwife talks and holy crap, it's working. Number 4, I better stick to it, otherwise slingshot back into the family or my old ways of being. I need discipline to apply what I've been seeing and stay in the game. So yeah, I guess you could use it for the logos or the pathologos, for midwifery or following the logos upward to heaven. So the need for virtue, practice, discipline, staying in the game, having this conversation as much as you can. But my friend wants to talk about gossip. I want to talk about logos. I'll talk about the reading. I'll talk about my dreams. I'll talk about my problems. Hey, what's your excellence? What are you seeking? Oh, nothing? Okay. Tell me about that. Why? So there's the 2 questions you can really ask. How are you going upward? What's your highest goal? How are you going and seeking that? What's your highest vision and understanding of that logos? Ultimately, it will eventually go into the reading that we're doing, but the other one? Or what's blocking you? How are your problems? Noticed a pattern in your problems yet? What are you struggling with? Maybe I can ask you some questions so you can realize there's a pattern. Those are the 2 questions. Logos or bakalogos. Number 5, taming the bull. So look, here he's got a rope around it, and here the guy is walking it. And the ox is following the man. Taming the bull. The whip and rope are necessary, else he might stray off down some dusty road. So, still needing virtues, and remind yourself and have a supporting network around you even. Find good people to talk to. Being well trained, he becomes naturally gentle. Hey, the longer you're in the game, the more you see problems are solvable, the less depressed you get, the less you fly off the handle, the less you get triggered, the more you've been reflecting on your problems and seeing that there's a purpose to everything, a logos for us to follow. He becomes naturally gentle, then unfettered. He obeys his master. Now, is he completely unfettered? Or is he gentle? Maybe unfettered is the anticipation of number 6. Maybe unfettered, free of your pathologos, is number 6. Let's keep reading and find out. Taming the ox with the rising of one's thought. So what have we got so far? We've got search of the bull, discovery of the footprints, perceiving the bull, catching the bull, and taming the bull. Makes sense? With the rising of one's thought, another and another are born. Enlightenment brings realization that such thoughts are not unreal, since even they arise from our true nature. What? Every single thought, distraction, tangent, fantasy, idea, dream, daydream is a message from our true nature, either about our development of the logos or our problems of the pathologos. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Do you think if we put on a robe and shaved our heads, that Buddhists will listen to us and get into philosophy too? Try it. Let us know how you go. Or, you maybe don't have to shave your head, but phrase it in a language familiar. Use the ox pictures, I don't know. Again, as an invitation, that's all we can do. Invite people to play. And, have fun. Makes it more inviting. And master it, so then once we've got people to play with, we can have a good time. One thought after another, each of these thoughts are being born. And enlightenment brings a realization that they're not unreal, since they are all, hey, you don't choose them. They're all arising from our true nature. It is only because delusion still remains that they are imagined to be unreal. Interesting. Lots of Buddhists that I have, people who claim to be Buddhists, say thoughts are an illness, or you can't think your way into enlightenment, or thoughts are Maya, illusion, a fancy word for illusion. You can't understand things. All you can do is sit under a waterfall or chant Hare Krishna or whatever the fuck. Now, I'm having a go at Buddhists, but every single tradition has the same thing. Why? Because every single tradition has to reject the logos, because only traditions that have the dialectic can address the family origin to our block to the logos, the pathologos. So unless you have midwifery, the dialectic applied to what's false, and dream analysis, your idea of God will reflect your ignorance. That's the same for religions as it is for Eastern spirituality. It's always the same. There's always a rejection of the logos, because that's the functioning of our human problems. That's what we're here to address. Only through the mastery of the dialectic can we remove that rejection, or tame the bull. Tame the bull, tame the ox. So only our delusion, or what we would call our pathologos ignorance, can we reject thoughts. Be it a Buddhist saying, you can't think your way into enlightenment, or thoughts are an illness, or thoughts are a sickness, or a Christian priest saying, don't ask questions, thoughts are the devil, or you're a woman. Woman can't speak in church, it says so in Ezekiel 5:17, or some fucking bullshit. Women are to be not to ask questions or think for themselves, because they are like cattle. And so saith unto Abraham from Moses, women are much like cattle, they are stupid, and they shouldn't think. Fucking bullshit like that. Pick a religion, they'll say something like that. To women, of course. It's always cruelty. Delusion. Rejects thinking, rejects thoughts, or doesn't. What have we been learning? Address the cause, address the source. Be it the source of yourself, mind, reality, be it the source of problems in the dialectic of midwifery, the source of the intelligibility of the book we're reading in discovering the dialectic as we've been reading. We're turning about upon a source. What's that? Ousia, as we turn about upon the source, and logos as our way of nailing it down or taming the bull. Always logos and ousia. See, it's fun. Once it becomes simple, it's fun. Just two things, ousia and logos. Don't say it in the majority report chat room, otherwise you get yourself fucking banned. But it's still true, despite the ignorance of the Twitch moderators. Beefgate. Beefgate was the big scandal of 2025. I thought I was over it. I am over it. Obviously it's going to happen like that. Didn't stop me from trying. But it's an important principle. Even what would seem to be a place for reflection, so long as you are not addressing the cause of problems, majority report has to wake up to the cause of problems. Because that's what they're about. They want to solve problems and create a better world, politically. They have to learn. Otherwise, their own backyard is blocking the logos, just as Republicans block the logos. It's I'm using it as a demonstration of what it's like. As a principle. The difficulties in sharing the truth, which is why we're not here to save the world, but we're here to help those who are genuinely interested in helping, as we talk with those like-minded people about how we reach truth and justice. But it is important. It really highlights that it's not just about finding the truth, it's also about addressing the counterattack. 4. Catching the bull. Unhealthy tendencies. So, only delusions think that our thoughts are not real. This state of delusion does not originate in the objective world, but in our own minds. That's important too. We carry with us our problems as our false beliefs that are always in opposition to the logos, our pathologos. See? Logos and ousia good, pathologos and belief bad. So that's simple. Once you see the ox, where could the ox hide? See? Alright. The poem. He must hold the nose rope tight and not allow the ox to roam, lest off to muddy haunts it should stray. Properly tended, it becomes clean and gentle. Untethered, it willingly follows its master. So, I think untethered or free from problems is probably 6. Because here, it's not yet. You can guide it through will and discipline and the virtues and doing what we're doing here. But you're still not free of problems, because left untended, it will stray into your problems again. You will be attracted towards the things you used to find attractive, the things you used to be interested in talking about. the old ways of being, the family ways of being, the cultural ways of being. You might stray off down some dusty road. Tangents. Tangents, distractions, fantasies, counterattacks, same thing. So 4 seems to be a counterattack, 5 seems to be the addressing of the counterattack, and you're able to stay on course, so it's taming the bull. You're in the process of keeping yourself on track. But it's not automatic yet. It's not automatic yet. Requires work. Requires lots of if you're having regular dialectic talks or midwife talks, and if you're doing dream analysis regularly, you can stay on track. You stay in the game. And your mind will follow you. The logos will serve you. Well, serve you is not the right word. You will be able to participate in the benefit from the source, from your true nature. So, if, as we've been saying, the logos is the source of providence. In other words, the self, which sends us dreams, daydreams, thoughts, and creates each moment as intelligibility and as profoundly intelligibly as it does, keeping every frame consistent and following the previous one, keeping everything going, keeping your dreams and thoughts and development in order, everything perfectly structured in a hugely profound way. That's the extreme, mind-bogglingly intelligent nature of the intelligence of self. Your true nature. We're learning to listen. That's the dialectic. That's dream analysis. Listening. And if we are listening, we're taming the ox. Our mind can serve us. It can help in our reading. It can help in our dream analysis. It can help in our dialectics. Our mind becomes our friend in 5. So long as we are disciplined. So while 3 is a glimpse, bafflingly, who could even understand this? 4 is the counterattacks, struggling with the ox, unhealthy tendencies. 5 is your mind is now starting to serve you, so long as you keep consistent. Otherwise, it will go down dusty roads. He must hold the nose rope tight. Oh, so look, it's on the nose of the ox. See? It's the rope of the man is on the nose. If you're not holding the nose rope tight, the ox will roam into muddy haunts. Back to your old problems. Stay in the game. Listen to your dreams. I talked lots about how we record our dreams. Reflect on them. Everything you've been learning about the dialectic. Find a way of applying it. Now, as Socrates has been saying, there isn't a map for dream analysis yet. Plato, Proclus, Damascus, Dionysius from Christianity, Ficino from Christianity. All of these people didn't nail down dreams. They saw it was significant, some of them. Socrates talked many, many times about this significance, but we don't have a map for that yet. We have to figure it out. The dialectic we've been learning all the way through. See if you can find a way of applying it to your dreams. And if you have someone else who's awake to the game, who is seeking the ox, who is a soul seeking betterment, someone who loves understanding too, then play as much as you can. Makes it easier to have other friends in the game. Because if you do, your mind becomes your friend. You can solve problems and your mind becomes gentle. And you can see every thought is being sent by self to you through logos, that if you pay attention, how do we listen? The dialectic. It ain't literal, but we can unpack it through the dialectic, through analogy, metaphor, and the structure of the dialectic, especially dreams. If we do, our mind's our friend. Our dreams are our friend. Even our tangents and sidetracks are our friend because they're all nothing other than clues about your false belief about self you don't even know you have, that's causing your problems, that you are literally born to solve because it prevented your upward movement of your soul prior to your lifetime. So we are incarnated in time in a world full of injustice to remind us about the significance of us addressing our own injustice. You can't solve Putin or Trump or Netanyahu's disgusting ignorance and injustice. Only they can. But they can remind you of the significance of what you are carrying that you're not aware to, the same way they are ignorant of their problems. Everything in the physical world is a reminder to turn around, ousia, and understand yourself, logos. Find the ox. And if we do that, we turn around to our own souls, we can do what we're here to do. And as we read in the text, we can be a shining light. Let's find that section. Because we're not rejecting the benefit we can have to others, but we're seeing that it's only in reaching this taming of the ox ourselves that we can become, hey, having tamed the ox, we can help others tame their ox. Or we could use the ox to help. Our mind is in service with us. So we saw earlier in the text. Okay, we want the word light. Because there's a section that they talked about receiving. How close we come to that light depends on our ability and aptitude for receiving the gift of the divine. The coming into that light is a return. Okay, that's what we've been seeing. Okay, maybe shine. Oh, here we are. Yes, same section. The nearer you are to the light of the ox, the more you are full of that light. Beyond that, they quickly add that in coming. So these are the people talking about the luminosity of mind, or the ox. In coming into that light, one should be able to shine forth that light. Well said, Jesus, says Socrates. I would only add that how close one comes to that light depends on one's ability and aptitude for receiving the gift, which is number 5. Recognizing that all of our thoughts are from our true source as a gift to help us participate in the light of the ox. The coming into that light is a return to the source, as the departure is a procession. Together they are a whole, moving opposite directions, both up and down. And it's the motion in and out of that gap. So there we have the source, or the instant, or that we are seeing suddenly. To see the ox is also in the gap between each moment. Apart from these motions that receive the old and release the new, there's something that persists and something that changes. Each moment is a new creation. So this is the idea of time. Right, so that's what we were looking for. We're looking for the idea of being able to shine forth through our mastery of the ox and understanding to benefit others too, while recognizing it's for our own sake primarily. Everything else is secondary. In other words, this is your stages of development of the ox herding pictures. Let's bring this back up. There we go. So, you must hold the nose rope tight. Number 5, taming the bull. They're only 10, halfway through. And not allow the ox to roam. Stay on the logos. Stay in the logos. Stay following the logos. Lest off to muddy haunts it should stray. People will try and, hey, family, come do what we're doing. Come play in the mud with us. Old friends, come play in the mud over here. Business acquaintances, religious folk that you used to be engaged with, come play in the mud over here. Eat this mud. No, eat this mud. But properly tended, it will become clean and gentle. So there you are, gaining a state of mind. That's what we're looking for. States of mind. What are we encountering? We're encountering the rationality of all thoughts. We're encountering a recognizing that the source of those thoughts are a message from self. That's the logos. That's the providential nature of the logos. As we read, it's our ability to participate in that gift, as we read just a second ago, that allows us to participate in that intelligence. That's our dialectic, way of thinking, way of reasoning, way of collecting our thoughts and looking for the source, or looking at our dreams. So what we're experiencing is the intelligibility of all thoughts from self. The state of mind is clean and gentle. Calmness, tranquility. Once you know you can guide your mind, or allow the mind, more accurately speaking, when you see that mind is guiding you, or you can allow your state of mind to be guided by the logos, calm and gentle, clean and gentle. Sounds like a peaceful state of being, right? Following the intelligibility of that glimpse, either of mind or self, non-physical, a glimpse of something more you, more of source, that's not physical, allowing it to benefit your state of mind. While you're in turmoil, struggling with the ox, struggling with your counterattacks in 4, you're in awe of what you've just glimpsed in 3, you're on the sidelines in 2, you're completely all fucked in number 1, attached to your ignorance, your bullshit ideas of right and wrong used to throw daggers at people different from your family, clan, ignorance, belief, pathologos. So 1, you're in shit. 2, you're on the sidelines. 3, you've had a glimpse, now you're awake to the quest. So 3 would be the first stage of enlightenment. 4 is your counterattacks. Trying to break your old habits. It ain't easy. It seems impossible even in 4. How can you integrate this insight into a changed way of being, considering everything in your upbringing and your old habits is specifically taught to fight against your own enlightenment? That's the ignorance of belief. That's the nature of human suffering, ignorance, and savagery. It ain't neutral. If it was neutral, we would just be like, oh yeah, well, let's just have a great world. Neutrally speaking, wealth equality, universal housing, universal healthcare, universal wealth equality, universal sharing of universal technology to universally benefit all humans. Not murder people who don't like us staying to old, archaic, fossil fuel technology because it makes 4 people rich who are already fucking rich anyway. Sadistic fucks. That would be neutral. Just help everyone. But human ignorance isn't neutral to enlightenment, it's in opposition to it. Number 1, human ignorance. Why search? I already know everything. I like to throw daggers at people unlike me. Number 1. I'm greedy for worldly gain. I'm fear of losing everything I have. Full of defilements. 2. Close, but not in the game. 3. There is something non-physical, a source of mind or self that's the cause of these footprints of rationality I'm seeing in my world. And now I'm in the game. Number 4. Uh-oh, you're in the game. everything in your upbringing and everything you've been identifying with yourself as yourself, your mask, your way of being, has literally been in opposition, has been, as we say, not neutral, in opposition to your benefit, to block you from being in the game. So fuck off you being in the game. I'm going to fight tooth and nail to get you out of that game. And all family members will, and all your old friend groups will, and your old cultural groups will fight tooth and nail to get you the fuck out of the game. That's number 4. But now, we talk about other people, but again, that only means anything to you if you believe them to be real. So in other words, it's your own inner unhealthy tendencies, old habits, that make these sorts of weirdos believable. Like if you grew up Christian, or more, let's say you grew up Mormon, and some like Muslim came up to you and said, oh no, you shouldn't pursue that glimpse that you had of intelligibility or heaven, no, or enlightenment, because Allah says, be like, fuck Allah, I don't even know who Allah is. No, but in the Quran it says the Quran. Get out of here, you weirdo. That's it. No effect. But if someone says, oh, but the Book of Mormon, Joseph Smith says that you can't because you're a woman or whatever the fuck, then that will bite. That will trigger you. Your own unhealthy tendencies. The counterattack of number 4. Catching the bull. Really, it's fighting the bull. Fighting the ox. Counterattack. So you can see this rope is stretched like a rubber band springing back. So you can remember it. Number 5, you realize, you don't have to be at war. So long as you recognize that all of the thoughts are unpackable through midwifery and the dialectic and dream analysis, your mind is your friend now. You're not fighting the old habits of your mind. You can be calm and gentle and in service. Your mind can be in service. Following the logos. And hey, so state of mind, clear and gentle, but if you're not listening to your thoughts in the right kind of way, you can be on a dusty road or full of mud. Jumping in the mud again. Back in the mud again. No. So, 2 kinds of states of mind. You're not fighting, you're either calm and gentle following the logos, or you're wallowing in the mud again. But, well, the other thing we're looking for, the anticipation, so the state of mind, what we encountered, how it functions, to drag you into your old problems, or to guide you towards your own enlightenment through the logos, paying attention to every thought is being sent by self. You don't choose your thoughts. Why do you get them? And why do they perfectly represent your problems? Why do they trigger you in the way you do? Why are they all understandable? A fucking huge, profound intelligence, that's the ox from yourself. You either see that and your state of mind is cool and calm, gentle, listening, or you've seen it because you're in 5, but you're ignoring it and you're letting your mind take you into mud again. So that's how it's functioning. State of mind, what is encountered, the intelligibility of all thoughts. How does it function? Following your purpose or guiding or making you roll in the muck. And the 4th thing we're looking for, remember the 4 things from what the text, you write it on the board as well. By the way, all of this you can put together into your sequel of the book. Looking for a map or paradigm of the journey of the soul through all the stages of enlightenment, from a glimpse to the final stages, through to the other side of heaven, to mind, and then what's beyond the ox. There's the picture, and then there is the scribbles on the board. What's that about? Let's get rid of that. There's a picture and profound, beautiful statements and a poem. We're looking for the state of mind of the seeker, what is encountered, how it functions, and a suggestion of its sequel. What's the next stage? And we're wondering which is the definition, demonstration, division, and conclusion, and how can we see it? Also, we're looking for the logos, the idea of perfection, And where does the smile come in? Because these are the things that are new things that stood out as different in the text. That's part of reading. Don't know where they fit. Maybe they're not even here, but we're wondering about it because that's what turned the haters around. That's what allowed the haters to go, well, I'm curious about the logos now and how it relates to our perfection. Both are needed to be in the game, which might bring us a smile. Hey, could that smile be accompanied with this ox following us now? Something to wonder about. So, states of mind. What's the state of mind of 5? Calm, gentle, maybe with a smile, following the logos. Or whatever it's like to be in the muck, in the mud, straying down tangents, dusty roads. What's encountered? Recognition that all thoughts are from the self, or from the true nature. Could be mind, could be self, don't know yet. How does it function? A well-trained mind, or a mind that is properly tended and clean and gentle, or if we're not holding true, if we're holding tight to what we've been learning, functioning to lead us into muddy haunts, leading us astray. And finally, anticipation of the next. Untethered, it willingly follows its master. Not untethered yet, not in this one. We're still keeping it tethered. We have to hold tightly. So this untethered, or no longer having to discipline ourselves into, or not discipline anymore, that'd be 4, but stay on the game all the time. Maybe the anticipation of 6 is a freedom from your pathologos. Your mind no longer seeks those things that once held your interest, but now you find dull or boring because you've seen through it, you've seen where it leads, you've seen it's bullshit. The thing that made it believable was crap. Image of truth, not the real ox, that you've now seen and you've become friends with. And the ends are all garbage, boring now, not interested anymore. So you can untether. Not here, tethered here. So that would be the anticipation of the next. So what would it be like to have a mind that could be completely free without any concern about old blocks, tangents, bad habits, straying off down dusty roads or into old muddy haunts? What would it be like to be completely free and just smile as your mind always goes the way it should? That is what we're going to get into next time. Now that's a good teaser for the next episode. We're going to see what's going to be. Is that going to be in 6? A completely free, untethered mind? Something to wonder about and be excited about for next time. That's what we'll do next time. Thank you so much for joining me on this adventure, on this quest. And I hope you're finding it interesting, and I hope you're excited about writing the sequel. Write it yourself. Could be fun. And hey, where are you on these 5? Are you still in the first 2, or are you in the game? What would it take? Lots to wonder about. Thank you once again for joining me. If you want to donate to the channel, there's a link. If you want to join the Discord, there's a link below. If you want the text that we're reading, not this one, there's a link below. If you, Twitch, YouTube, you know the drill. Thank you so much. And, number 6, what would it be like to be a completely untethered ox? Exciting. Let's find out together next time. See you then.